Hi again, Mark here from Talking Bass. This week I'm going to take you through 5 short riffs from the 25 Bass Groove Challenge over at the Talking Bass website. These 25 grooves cover a wide variety of techniques and work up from very simple riffs that should be fine for beginners up to much more complex lines that make use of odd time signatures, hammer-ons, slides, chords and more. Hence the name, the 25 Bass Groove Challenge. The whole set of riffs are accessible to all Talking Bass members for free. Just sign up to the free membership over at the website and you'll gain access to the 25 Bass Groove Challenge, the 25 Slap Riff Challenge, a whole bunch of ebook downloads like the Scale Reference Manual ebook. There are exclusive drum loops that you can use for practice and a set of videos working through all the most common scales and arpeggios for bass. So like I said, it's free to sign up. Just click on the link in the info below to visit Talking Bass. Okay, first up we've got riff number 10 of the challenge that makes use of slides and hammer-ons. All the grooves are demonstrated by me and session drummer Rupert Brown as a rhythm section, so here we have groove number 10. Okay, so let's work through this groove. So we're in the key of A minor and we start with 2 open A strings. So the first one I cut slightly short and then full duration on the second. So then we have this little move of D to E on the A string and then the G at the 5th fret of the D string. So we're going to pluck the D, which is the 5th fret of the A string, and then hammer on at the E 7th fret. So we've got first finger and third finger there, so index and ring finger. So just pluck that first note and then hammer on. And then we play the G at the 5th fret of the D string. So then for the next move we have, so we've got a slide here, so we're playing the A at the 7th fret of the D string and then sliding up to the B at the 9th fret. So and then we play the D at the 7th fret of the G string. Okay, so we're just plucking that first note there, the A, keeping the finger held down, and then sliding up. Okay? Then we have open D string, and then we have G to A hammer on, so 5th fret to 7th fret on the D string. So we pluck the first note again and then hammer on, again, first and third fingers. So, the whole thing. So just start out slow with that riff, don't bother with metronomes or the practice tracks or anything like that to begin with. Just get the notes under your fingers and just make sure that you're sounding out both of those notes on the hammer-ons and same with the slides. You just want good technique throughout, okay? Then you can practice to the practice track, which will sound like this. Next up we have groove number 14 that makes use of some raking technique. So we're in the key of G minor and we begin with 2 Gs at the 3rd fret of the E string. So that's 2 8th notes, 1 and. Then we have an 8th note rest, 1 and 2, and then on the next and, we have this little 16th note triplet raked down that sounds like this. So we're coming down these notes, B flat, G and C. 3rd fret G string, 5th fret D string, 3rd fret on the A string. And I say I'm raking down. If you're not used to raking, raking is where we use a single finger to rake across several strings. So I'm just using the index finger there to come down across those notes. So then after the rake, we've got D, F, G. So we've got 5th fret A string and then 3rd and 5th frets on the D string. So, and then we have this little open A string to B flat, 1st fret of the A string. So I'd advise just working on that rake in isolation. So in terms of the fingering on the fretting hand, I'm using the index finger there for the B flat. I'm using the 4th finger there, the pinky, for the G, and then I'm using the index finger for the C. Okay, so I'm just coming down like that, and I'd advise leading into the D if you're going to play it in isolation. So that's the move to work on. You're raking across with the index finger and then catching that next note, the D, with the 2nd finger. So you just want to try that really slowly. And then just gradually build that speed up. Okay? The second bar is pretty much the same as the first. But instead of playing the little open A string to the B flat, we just play that G and slide down. Okay, so I'm catching it with the pinky there, that G, and just sliding down. The third bar is pretty much the same as the first again. But instead of the open A string to the B flat, we just have the open A string. The fourth and final bar sounds like this. Okay, so we've moved up to the B flat here, so we have 2 B flats there, so that's the 1st fret of the A string. And then we come down, so 2 hits on the B flat up at the 3rd fret of the G string. And then we come down F, and then the B flat, so 3rd fret on the D string and 1st fret on the A string. And then, so here we have the C, 3rd fret of the A string, so played twice, and then F to the G, hammer on, so we play the first note, hammer on, so 3rd fret to 5th fret on the D string, and then the B flat, 3rd fret of the G string, so. And that's the whole of that 4th bar. So just as a little technical tip for that 4th bar, in terms of the finger picking, when you play that B flat, I'd play that twice with the 1st finger. And then, so we're going to play alternate picking, 1st, 2nd, so, and then 1st finger again, so we're alternating again, so when we get to the F, we're playing with the 1st finger again, so, but then rake down from the F down to the B flat, so, okay, so 1, 2, 1, rake. And also when you do this, in terms of the thumb placement, I'd put the thumb there on the E string to begin with, so we're muting that E string, and then shift the thumb onto the A string, and then as you rake down, you move the thumb back. This is just keeping everything locked down and making sure you don't get any residual noise. Then we move up. When you go for the F to the G to the B flat, shift that thumb across, so onto the A string, so you're blocking that off. So really, when you move onto the A string, you want to be locking down the A string and the E string. So put the thumb on the A string and just pull it back slightly so that you're catching that E string. So, okay, so let's try that whole riff through. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, So that's the whole thing, and obviously, again, you want to start out really slow with this, especially if you're not used to raking, and like I said, don't worry about metronomes or the tracks to begin with. Don't try pressurizing yourself first. Just get it down onto your fingers and work, and if there's a problem with any of those elements in there, work on them in isolation. Or pay special attention to the technique in both hands. Okay, let's have a listen to that with the track. Next up, we have groove number 16 that brings some double stop chords into the mix. Okay, so we're in the key of E minor and we start on an open E string, but beware of the rhythm here because we're coming in on an anacrusis, so it's a pickup into that into the bar. So with a counting, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, and. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We're on the and of 4 there. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so we've got 2 open E's there, 3, 4. And then we play A to the B there, 5th fret to the 7th fret on the E string, pluck the first note and hammer on. Then we have D to E, 5th fret to 7th fret on the A string. So nice little, straightforward pattern there. It's all pentatonic. Then we have the chords. So these are double stops, so just 2-note chords. So they're all going to be, these first 3 are going to be power chords. So if you've never seen a power chord before, it's just a perfect 5th interval. Okay, so the first one's going to be an A power chord. So this is the 7th fret of the D string and 9th fret of the G string. Okay, so we've got the A and the E there. So just an A power chord, a perfect 5th on A. Then we come down, we bring the whole thing down a whole step to play it on G, so that's the G and the D, so 5th fret D string, 7th fret on the G string. So we play the first one twice, and then we just take that whole power chord again and just bring it down a string, down onto the D. So this is D and A, so this is 5th fret A string, 7th fret on the D string. And in terms of the picking, I'm using 2 fingers like that. So I'm using the first finger and the second finger. So the second finger's taking the G string and the first finger's taking the D string. So just as if you were picking. Okay. Okay, so that first part of the riff. Then we repeat the first part of there with the pickup again. So with the first line. And then we've got a different set of chords. So the chords this time sound like this. Okay, so we start on the G power chord there. So this is going to be 5th fret D string, 7th fret on the G string. So a G and a D. Played twice. And then all we do is we keep the pinky there at the 7th fret of the D string and we bring the first finger down to the F sharp. So this is at the 4th fret of the D string. Okay, and then we play that chord, and then we come back to our original G power chord. So the only finger moving here is the first finger, the index finger. Just down a fret and back. When we play that chord down there, we're actually shifting to what's pretty much a D major. So in inversion, okay? So it's actually a D major, because we've got the D up on the top here, we've got the F sharp down here. It's a major third, as if we had a D major third there, okay? But we've taken the D and put it up the octave. So there we have G to D and back. okay? And then we're back to the beginning of the riff. Okay, so here's the whole riff. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, as always, try playing through that slowly, paying attention to your technique and your time. And, you know, if you've never played any chords before, these double stops, it might take a little bit of getting used to it first, because, you've got to get used to having 2 fingers down at the same time. So, in terms of finger strength, it might feel a little bit odd at first, but, it doesn't take long. They're only double stops, very simple chords. So, here we are with the track. The next groove is number 21 that makes use of some ghost notes. So here we've got some of those funky ghost notes. Now, any of you that saw my video a couple of weeks ago on December 63, Oh What a Night by Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons will have seen me talk about ghost notes and about how to perfect them. And so if you need a deep dive into that stuff, you can just go check that out. But in that lesson, I talk about what I call home position. Now, this is something that everybody pretty much does once they get beyond a certain level, because it's a default position of silence. If you're in this position, this is the home position, by the way, you're not going to have any accidents. Picture the scene. You're on stage, you've just plugged in, you get into this position, somebody bangs into you, you bang the bass, whatever, it doesn't matter. We're not going to get any of this, okay? So, I'll just very quickly go through that. Just take your first finger, lay it lightly across the A, D, and G strings, and you'll probably get some harmonics. You can do this anywhere you want, really. You just want to do this in the position that you're going to be playing. So first finger across the A, D, and G strings, and then the rest of the fingers, just bring them down so that second and third finger just extends slightly. So, basically just laying the fingers across the strings. And hey presto, we've got all those ghost notes. So like I said, this is a default position of silence, and it's really good for cutting down on residual noise. If you need a note, you just allow it through. Okay, so you just raise those second, third, and fourth fingers, but then back, okay? So I'm always going back to that position of silence. So the cool thing about home position with regard to this riff is that if we get into home position and then we pluck a string, we get a ghost note. So we don't have to think about the individual techniques going on in there. We don't have to think, oh, I need to do this with the hand and, and then go to this note. You just in home position, and then you allow the next note to come through. So if I'm going to be playing 2 ghost notes and then a G at the 5th fret of the D string, I'm in home position. You'll notice there as well, I'm actually bringing the thumb round to cut that E string off so that I don't get noise there. Okay, so let's have a look at this riff. So we've got 2 ghost notes, so home position and pluck twice, and then we play the G, 5th fret of the D string, and a hammer on at the A, 7th fret. So, and then we play the C, 5th fret of the G string twice. So if you're in position with that home position there, and then you play the ghost notes, the hand should be right there ready for those next few notes. After the 2 Cs, we have 2 ghost notes again on the D string. Okay, so then we have F to G, 3rd fret to 5th fret on the D string, and then C to D, 3rd fret to 5th fret on the A string. Okay, so that's the first bar, so you just want to practice that in isolation first. So start out really slow. just build up speed. The second bar is almost exactly the same, but instead of the C leading into the D down here, we have two ghost notes leading into that D. And again, I'm just going into that home position to play them. Okay, and I'm taking that D with the first finger there. So when we play this riff, I'm basically dealing with two hand positions there. I start with that first finger over the 5th fret, and then I shift down so the first finger is over the 3rd fret for the next few notes. So just watch where the hand moves. And back. When I play the two ghost notes leading into the D, I then shift the hand back up so that I'm ready for the next bar. So both bars round and round. See there, the shift. Okay, so obviously this is going to be another one that if you're not used to ghost notes, you're going to have to play it slowly and gradually build up speed. So, you know, don't worry about the track, don't worry about a metronome, anything like that to begin with. Just get those notes down and then just gradually build it up in your own time. And then when you've done that, you can play along to the track. Finally, we have groove number 25, the last groove of the challenge that brings some odd time into the mix. So this riff's in A minor and it's in the time signature of 7/16. Okay, so what's 7/16? So in terms of time signatures, we've got a top number and a bottom number. The top number is the numerator, the bottom number is the denominator. So it's just like a fraction, okay? So 7/16 is 7/16, just as 4/4, you know, that you'll have all played in, is 4 quarters. Now, think about that bottom number. Because that's the bit that everybody always gets confused over. Remember, the top number is just how many beats. So 4/4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5/4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. The bottom number is the rhythm that is that we're counting there. So if you think of 4/4, think of it as a fraction. 4 quarters, it's quarter notes. 4 quarter notes. 7/8 would be 7/8, 7/8 notes. 7/16, that's 7/16 notes. Okay, so as long as you know what quarter notes, 8th notes, and 16th notes are, that's all you need to know. Okay, so numerator at the top, that's the number of beats in the bar. The bottom number, the denominator, that's the type of beat. So first of all, we need to know how to count this. Now, with odd time signatures, really, you don't want to be counting that much. It's better to actually be able to feel them. I mean, you need to be able to count them as well, but if you think about 4/4, how often do you really spend counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I mean, you might if you're reading or there's a particularly tricky part to play, a particularly tricky rhythm, but most of the time you're not, focusing as much on the counting. And it's the same with odd time signatures. You really have to learn how to feel them. And you'll find that with odd time signatures like this, that there's a little bit of a clave that you get, where you get the little accents in there that really are the key to getting the feel. So I'm just going to play the backing track and I'm going to count along. And first of all, I'm just going to count the numbers, the sevens there, and then I'm going to count the feel out, what I'm actually thinking of, okay? So here's the track. So for 7/16 notes, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. However you want to count it, it's pretty quick, right? But here's what I'm actually thinking of. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So you may be thinking, why are you counting 4 there? How is that possible? Well, what I'm actually doing is I'm still counting 7/8, but 7/16, sorry. But I'm actually just counting those accents in there, that little clave. So let's think of 7/8 first of all, before we even think of 7/16, okay? So it's the next one up. Take 7 notes, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then if I just switch that and turn that into eighth notes, counting eighth notes as if we were in 4/4, you would have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, okay? No and at the end, that would give us the 8. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, okay? 4/4 would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We're missing out the and at the end because it's only 7 notes. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so aside from that, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now take out the ands. And what we have, I mean, we'll still be thinking of that division, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you'll find that way of counting 7, those accents there, you'll hear it so much in a lot of progressive rock, classical music that uses 7s. You hear it a lot, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's got almost a Latin feel to it. But that's how I'm counting, okay? So with the actual riff here, this, I'm thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now I did that with 7/8. So with 7/16, we just do it twice as fast. So instead of it just being 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It takes a little bit of getting used to at first, but once you get used to that, and missing out those ands, it will be so much easier to count because you're not thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So here's the track again, and I'll count along. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now for those first 3 bars of that riff, we can play them using that method of counting. So we have, okay, so open A string, then B and C, so 2nd and 3rd frets on the A string, so we're just working up the A minor there. And I'm just counting that 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, but I'm not playing on the on that final 8th note, that 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll play it a lot slower. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So of that 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm only playing on the first 3 hits. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then for the 4th bar, we have this little fill. Okay, so it's just a full bar of 7/16, all 16th notes. So we have 2 hits on the D there, 5th fret of the A string. Then we have F sharp to G, so that's 4th fret to the 5th fret, hammer on. So then we play twice up on the B there, 4th fret of the G string, and another hammer on, this time to the C. So for each of these, we're just on the 4th and 5th frets, okay? So So, simple. Then for bars 5, 6, and 7, we have... Okay, so again, starting at the open A, then up to the B, 2nd fret of the A string, and then down to the G at the 3rd fret of the E string. So we're just moving down to G instead of up to the C. Again, same method of counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then for the final bar, we have another fill. Okay, so this is all taking place on the 5th fret of the D and A strings. So we've got 2 hits on the G, 5th fret of the D string, and then down to the D at the 5th fret of the A string. And that's a 2 16th note, 8th note rhythm. Then we have G down to the D, 5th fret D string, 5th fret A string. And this time it's a little group of 3. So it's a 1, 2, 3, so it's an 8th note and a 16th note, which, you know, might be a bit weird to you, even if you're a good reader. It gets a little bit odd when you get into time signatures because you see little groups of 3s and 5s and all that kind of stuff. So, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it's a group of 4 and a group of 3 in 7/16. So, very slowly through the whole thing. Now, again, you'll want to try this slowly and you want to practice that counting along with it. You know, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Get that counting down, otherwise this is just going to be really, really difficult. You don't really want to be counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, you could, you know, when you're practicing it very slowly, but there always comes the point at which you're going to build up speed so much that you can't count anymore. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you know, it's just not going to, it's just not going to work. So you just need to be able to count that half time, and that is basically what we're doing. We're counting half time. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So here it is with the track. Okay, so that's 5 riffs from the 25 Bass Groove Challenge. Just follow the link below to visit the website and sign up for the free membership to gain access to the members area where you'll find all of the cool practice resources, including the 2 Bass Groove Challenges. Okay, I'll see you next week.